The executive committee has just provided a tremendous amount of support for myself and the entire NETA staff this past year, and we've got a great group to work with, as you can tell. I also want to echo Molly's comments and say a huge thank you to Pat Harrison and the entire team at CPB. Their partnership in this conference is just truly phenomenal. The amount of work that they have poured into the day that you experienced yesterday, I just can't say enough for them. Thank you, everyone, again, for a tremendous Thought Leader Forum this year. We look forward to year number 3 next year. Thank you. I also need to thank all of the sponsors for the 2019 NETA conference, beginning with PBS, who started us off with a great breakfast this morning, got the blood pumping. We truly cannot do a conference like this without the support of all these great sponsors and vendors that you see around here. Would you give a huge round of applause to everybody that has sponsored this year's conference, please? Thank you. A quick note, at the break at 3:15, we will have a door prize drawing outside at the Carl Bloom Associates booth. There are some great things in there, gift cards, free registrations, cool t-shirts. You'll want to be around for that. That's 3:15. And I'd like to also thank everybody that provided scholarships for the conference this year. There were a number of organizations that provided travel scholarships to allow additional people to attend this year's conference and experience all of this. Thanks to their support, there were 13 scholarships awarded to individuals across the system this year. Could all of our scholarship recipients that are in the room please stand up so we can acknowledge you? Welcome. It's great to have you here. Congratulations on having been selected. We are thrilled and honored to have you here with us. There were also 73 newcomers that were here with us this year. This is their first conference. It's just wonderful to have all these new faces here, and I hope you all are looking for those newcomer badges to try and introduce yourself and make a connection with these folks. This would be a great opportunity, I think. Can the NETA staff that's in the room just rise quickly, everybody, so I can thank them? This is an incredible team of people that work hard for all of you every single day. I could not be more honored to be part of this team, and the work that they do and their dedication to our industry is just truly something to behold. Thank you to all of you. As Molly shared, it has been a really busy year for us at NETA. I think we've laid a new foundation and are now working to bring that 2020 strategic framework to fruition. The Business Center is working and pursuing ways to provide cost-effective health care for stations by combining all of our collective purchasing power in something called a PEO. New phrase for me. If it's new to you and that's something that sounds like it might be interesting at your station, there is a session on that this afternoon, so look us up. Business Center is working daily with our clients and stations to implement accounting and human resources best practices across our system. Anita and her team continue to evolve and are developing new partnerships right now to support stations, including legal services and business consulting. Speaking of consulting, NETA Consulting, now headed by the venerable and only partially retired, despite what you've heard, Skip Hinton, is alive and well and available to assist stations particularly seeking to fill management and leadership level positions. Please look us up. Gail and the content team are working very hard with producers as we speak to secure live linear streaming rights for everything that we distribute, ensuring that you will have the rights you need as you seek skinny bundle opportunities at your stations. Also, NETA has worked closely this past year with the 6 team at PBS, and we're thrilled to now be offering all of our content via the new System Interconnect. And of course, we're developing strategies for digital and the future of content and program production, distribution. Tim and the newly formed education team are building strategies to work in both the big E, little e education spaces alike, in collaboration with all of our national partners, including PBS Children's Media and Education, CPB, APTS, to provide seamless support for stations. We're working to modernize the NETA councils and provide new platforms to support cross-system engagement. That was a process that we began Monday with our executive council's meeting. The team is working with our member stations to create dynamic webinars, as you saw, to support ongoing professional development. If you were not one of the nearly 2,000 participants in a NETA webinar last year, they are all archived online. I would strongly encourage you to check the archive out. Many of them are very evergreen. You can see all of the topics that you missed this past year. I hope you will all, sometime in the year ahead, take advantage of this tremendous member benefit. The content in these webinars gets better and better with every passing year, and that's shown in the numbers for participants. We're also in the process of solidifying several new partnerships to support stations within the education ecosystem. We'll share more on all of this as it evolves. A huge cornerstone of the NETA strategic plan is supporting all of your professional development and career advancement. We are excited to get to share with you today a major announcement and a partnership with the Affinity Group Coalition, not a household name for everybody in the system. I'll talk more about what the AGC is here in a moment, and NETA. As representatives of our system, the members of the Affinity Group Coalition recently affirmed their desire to support system-wide professional development. NETA is also committed to this. Together, we believe the time is right to combine our efforts and announce a new partnership in support of public media professional development. This partnership will be dedicated to addressing the needs of our public media system through multiple channels. We will develop an online learning ecosystem, in-person training opportunities, webinars, peer networks, and other tools to support all of our colleagues. This partnership will focus on several areas of need, including management, Public Media 101, discipline-specific training, leadership development, and many other areas. To begin this process, we are forming a professional development working group. This working group will be led by none other than Molly Phillips, your NETA board chair, who also happens to be the chair of the AGC's new Professional Development Committee, and supported by Tim Ernessy, NETA's Vice President of Education. The working group members are a representation of our system. They include general managers, IT, content, community engagement, education, and stations from the Small Station Association, the Organization of State Broadcasting Executives, the University Licensee Association, the Joint Licensee Group, the Major Market Group, and the Independent Public Television Stations Association. Thank you, much better. There we go. We will be working together over the next year to build a sustainable structure in support of public media professional development. Look, that's a really tall order, but we are very excited for that challenge. I am very thrilled to welcome you here to Salt Lake City. Thank you all for being here. Please enjoy the rest of today and your conference. Make friends with one of those newcomers. It's right on their badge. Remember always, you take out what you put in. Please make the most of it. Thank you all very much. It is now my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker for today. Before we do, let's take a quick look at what it means to be a Laker for a lifetime. Or not. Thumbs down. You can only imagine. Well, there it is.
Since the beginning of time, humans have been trying to figure out their reason for existence. Great thought leaders have shared the secret with others. Thought leaders like Earl Nightingale, Les Brown, Andrew Carnegie, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, and countless of others. In 1937, Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, and this book changed the way we thought about money, and people had finally understood that we can control our success based on our thoughts. In 1948, John Wooden completed the Pyramid of Success, which reveals that success is built block by block, where each block is a crucial principle contributing to lifelong achievement in every area of life. In 2006, Rhonda Byrne wrote a self-help book called The Secret, which is based on the law of attraction and claims that positive thinking can create life-changing results, such as increased happiness, health, and wealth. All of these books have been very useful for millions of people around the world. But it always seemed as though something was missing. After searching the Sahara Desert and the caves of Africa for centuries, it has finally been discovered. The original pyramid, inspired by the shape of the pyramid, is connected to the most important thing we all possess: purpose. Purpose is the reason we exist. When we access our purpose, we create the world which we all deserve to live in. This is what the great thinkers have been trying to share with the world, that we have the power to discover our purpose. But for years, there has been an enemy whose main job was to stop us from accessing this power. Now, for the first time ever, it's available to you. So if you're ready to live the life you deserve, to discover a world of infinite power, then get ready for the Pyramid of Purpose. It's here, and it's time to discover, develop, and live it.
Wow. Our keynote speaker today, ladies and gentlemen, is a true Laker for a lifetime. Dr. Damon Arnold is the director of the Laker Academic Success Center at Grand Valley State University. I could say this because he's a friend. Dr. Arnold understands both success and failure after getting kicked out of not one but two high schools and ultimately graduating from a continuation school. His message is pretty simple. It's not how you start, but how you finish that counts. Dr. Arnold, who's far from finished, now holds a PhD in education administration from Washington State University and works with business leaders, athletes, including the National Football League and the Rookie Transition Program, to help them step beyond their limitations and into their own greatness. Would you please help me welcome Dr. Damon Arnold?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. You know, it's funny because the worst thing you can do is trip coming up those stairs. That can change everything. All right, so I'm gonna tell you, I wanna have fun because I've been to a lot of conferences, just like many of you in the room, and you know how I go. But then there's some great things, and then you get back home and you fire it up, and then it's, So let's have fun. Can we have fun? We can have fun? Because I didn't come down for breakfast because I'm a little bit sick, but I'm good because I sat in the sauna and I sweated it all out. And so I'm good. And I see I only have, this is my clock, right, Tim? Yes, sir. I love it. All right, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to talk about everything. But the most important thing I'm going to focus on is purpose. So I came up here on Sunday. So I've been going to the different sessions and all that. And everything that I talk about and everything that I believe is purpose. I believe once we start changing the language to understand what it's really about, it's about purpose. Everyone in this room, everyone on this planet, you're here for a purpose. And so as I went to these sessions, what I found is you guys are all on purpose. You guys are finding those stories that you pull into existence that people don't know about that allows other people to say, wow, they had the same experience that I had, and they made it through. So I thank all of you for what you do, because it means a great deal to people like me. Because people like me, a little bit about me, and then we're going to move on, because I always got to say this part, because I want us to be family. Can we be family? I can't hear, can we be family? Yes. All right, so for some of you, I'm going to be your first black cousin, uncle. Okay. That's funny. So some of the white people in here, go ahead and laugh. It's all good. The reason why I joke about race is because the most important being on this planet is the human being. And I think we've forgotten that. I think we also forgot that the only way we get off this planet is in a coffin. No one has figured out how to get off this planet alive. Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey got a whole lot. They can't figure out how to get off. So what you're doing and how you live your life is important. Does that make sense? All right, so in order for us to be family, I got to introduce you to my family. Is this going to work? All right, there we go. So let me introduce you to my family first. No, you're fine. We got it. That's my family. That's my tribe right there. We just did Orlando, and Mickey makes you feel good about spending all that money. I don't know how he does it, but it's like, oh, my God. Going in, it's like, oh. But then, Mickey, you get excited. So that's my family. That's DJ, and that's me. And let me digress, and I play a little bit of football. Can y'all tell? If you're in the front row, you got to shake your head yes, okay? Make me feel good. All right, we're going to try this again for you, okay? Mr. Finance guy, everything's okay. Play a little football, can you tell? There we go. They say I work with a lot of different NFL players, and they all hate, my student athletes all hate, because they're like, Doc, let the dream go. All right, so DJ, Alani, that's my wife, Sherelle, And that's me. So let me tell a quick little story about DJ, and then we'll move on to purpose. See, DJ is someone who I love, but he's the person who stretches me the most. He's the person who, when I'm on him, it reminds me to think about what I'm not doing. See, I believe with that purpose that we're on this planet for a purpose, but I believe every experience that we have, we were supposed to experience that in order to learn something from that. So I don't believe that there's bad experiences. I don't. I know Pollyanna attitude. I don't. I believe that every situation that comes upon us, we have an opportunity to learn something. And that's what you're doing. You're telling a story so people can learn from other people. So DJ, I was looking it up. So Michael Jackson. Everybody know Michael Jackson in the room? Okay. All right, make sure everybody know Michael Jackson. Because, I speak to a lot of different groups. And, some groups don't know. I'm like, everybody know Michael Jackson? Yeah, little kids, they don't know. And so Michael Jackson passed away in 2009. So my son was 4 or 5 years old. And so I remember us sitting on the couch. And he had just passed away. And me and my son, we going through the channels. And I'm like, everything on the station is talking about Michael Jackson and the death. And I'm like, gosh, I don't want to have this conversation with my son this early. I don't want to have it. And so I'm trying to flick through the station. I'm trying to get to some PBS station. There you go, Tim. See, did you tell? See how I threw that in there right there? All right, see, I'm working it, baby. All right. So I'm trying to flick through something. And everything is talking about Michael Jackson. And so as I'm flipping, my son says, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Well, Daddy, who is Michael Jackson? And I'm like, all right. How can I, have this conversation and just cut it off? I said, well, DJ, Michael Jackson, first of all, let me digress. I failed as a black father. How did he not know who Michael Jackson is? All right, that's a different story. Because I know all the black people in the room are like, really? He don't know who? All right. So, Daddy, who is Michael Jackson? Well, son, Michael Jackson was a phenomenal entertainer, and he passed away. And so, back to flipping through the channels. Come on, Sesame Street. Come on. Tim, that's twice. Go ahead, boy. My son says, well, Daddy, what happened to him? So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to talk to him. And I said, DJ, Michael Jackson was a great entertainer, and he died because he had a bad heart, and the doctors couldn't save him. And my son, he's looking. And so at this point, I just turned the TV off. And he said, Daddy. He said, Daddy, when I grow up, Daddy, I want to be a doctor, Daddy. He said, Daddy, because that way I could have saved Michael Jackson, Daddy. And he said, Daddy, and all these people, they wouldn't be so sad, Daddy. And I'm going to be honest, because we family, right? I said we family. So I was like, that's cool, DJ, that's great. But inside I was like, ooh, my son about to be a doctor, baby. And so as I'm going to the room, I didn't know my wife was listening in on the conversation, who had already picked up the phone, talking to one of her girls, talking about, yeah, girl, my son gonna be a doctor, girl. So we got this rule in the house. I'm a shoe and a watch guy. So next day, we're in the laundry room, DJ and I, and we're cleaning our shoes. And my wife calls me. She says, Damon, can you come in? And I was like, I said, DJ, I can't be late getting you to the bus. I said, DJ, can you do Daddy a favor? Can you finish cleaning Daddy's shoes? He said, yeah, Daddy, I can clean them. So I go in, I see what my wife wants, and I come back. I'm like, all right, D, come on, we got to go. Did you finish cleaning Daddy's shoes? He was like, yeah, Daddy, I finished. And I grabbed my shoes, and I was like, oh, my goodness. DJ, you did a phenomenal job with these shoes. And so I reached in my pocket, and I gave my son $1, and my son was happy. My son looked, he looked at that shoes, and he looked at that dollar, and he looked at the shoes. He said, Daddy, I changed my mind. When I grew up, I want to be a shoe sign man. I hear my wife in the other room say, no! See, my son believes that he can be whatever he chooses to be. And I remember when I was young, watching the different shows, watching Mr. Rogers, watching all the different wonderful programming that you've been a part of, that you've watched. And it made us believe that anything was possible. Anything was possible. But then what happens? We get around other people who tells us, oh, no, that's not possible. You can't do that. And here's the bad thing. We start believing them. See, it's not a bad thing that they're saying it to us. It's a bad thing that we believe what they're saying about what we know is possible. See, in 1954, it was a guy named Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister was the first person to break the 4-minute mile. Before that, no one had ever broken the 4-minute mile because they believed that hearts would explode, that all these things would happen. But Roger Bannister believed that he would be the person to break the 4-minute mile. After he broke the 4-minute mile, think about it. High school students, it's been thousands and thousands and thousands of people. But that was the former belief. But now there's a new belief based on new information. Think about if we start changing the language and we start focusing on purpose. Think about when we start being courageous enough to say what we're purposed to do, irregardless of what people will say we can't do. Think if we started changing the language. Purpose. Think if we start telling kids, because remember, research is coming out about purpose. There's a guy named Bruce Lipton. Bruce says by the time you're 1 year old to 7 years old, you've already been programmed. And it's not a problem that we're being programmed. The problem is who's programming us. That's the issue. Who's programming? So think about the different stories you've done. Think about the different people you know. Think about our lives. Different people were part of that programming. And unfortunately, some of the things that we learned, it wasn't true. It might have been true for that person, but our experience can be different based on the experience that we choose to have. Does that make sense? So I look around the room and I think about you, because we're going to make this a conversation. How many of you are in your purpose? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know you're in your purpose. I love it. Put your hands down. How many of you in the room are still trying to figure out and find your purpose? Raise your hand. It's okay. See, remember I talked about being courageous, because y'all like, I don't know, I know. I mean, I love my job. No, I'm just messing with you. See, it's when we start connecting to our purpose. And here's what I mean about, I don't think there's bad experiences. I think there's experiences that we haven't yet learned from. See, it's a guy named, I mentioned Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs did a commencement speech, and he talked about connecting the dots backwards. Remember, they said, I don't know if you heard, I'm the young man that got kicked out of 2 different high schools. I graduated from an alternative school. I'm not supposed to be up here as handsome as I am. I had to make sure you was laughing. All right. You my point person. All right. Where was I? I think I left off with handsome as I am. Being this Dr. Damon Arnold guy, here's the reality of my life. Every day when I'm in my office, I have different athletes that are coming from all over the place. And they're coming in, they're like, doc, this is going on. And I'm able to pull out of my toolbox worth of experiences that I had in order to help them. See, going through it, I didn't know that I would use getting kicked out of 2 different high schools, not understanding the importance of education. I didn't know that I would have tools to pull out of my toolbox to help that young man, that young woman, crowds, to understand that it's all part of it. It's all part of it. Everything that you've been through, it's all part of it. What can you learn from the experience that you're going through? See, I think this is all a learning lab. Life is a learning lab. And we'll repeat the same things again. Wasn't a guy named Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result? Research says we think 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And so we wonder, when we're thinking those thoughts on Monday, on Tuesday, still not feeling good because you haven't broken up that thought pattern. You know, a lot of people say, oh, he's motivated. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not. I don't believe in motivation. Let me tell you why. Motivation is never there when you need it. It's not. It's not. I'm in Michigan. So I left Michigan to come to Utah. Not the sunny Hawaii. When y'all get to Hawaii, please bring me back. I got some more information. But I'm in Utah. And so if I said, you know how my New Year's resolution, I'm about to lose this weight. It's going down. January 1st, it's going down. And then you look out the window and it's a snowstorm. And you're like, it's probably crowded at the gym. Motivation is never there when you need it. But see, here's why I'm at the gym every single morning. Every single morning. I got this thing that I do on Instagram. Because, Snap, Instagram, I got to connect with my students. I got to know about different rap songs because I got to know if they're talking about my mama or something. I don't know. So when they come in the office, what's up, Wardy? Is that my mama? Wait a minute. So I do this thing every morning on Instagram, and it's called Grind Time. And my student athletes, because I get up at 4:30. I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I don't get up at 4:30 and 5 o'clock out of motivation. I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock because of commitment. Because I have a daughter who's 13, who already likes boys. And I want my shirt off when I come to the door. And I want him, did I tell you I played a little football? Okay, all right. I want him to know that her daddy played a little football. See, it's my purpose to make sure that those things that used to hold me back, that I'm fighting those things. See, we all struggle with different things. All right, so let me, that was Michael Jackson right there. There go Michael Jackson. Oh, that's my mama. That's the person who, when I was 9 years old, she moved from Cleveland to California because she wanted a better life for me. She didn't know anyone in California, but she wanted a better life for her son. And then she sent for me. She changed my life. But remember, kicked out of 2 different high schools, graduated from the alternative school. I still wasn't understanding how important education was. So we're dealing with people who don't understand how important education is. And I tell people all the time when I speak across the country, it's not about getting a 4-year degree. It's not. It's about education. I got young men in high school. I speak to young women. I'm like, it's education. You can go get a trade. You can go get a. It's about education. The stories that you're producing, it's about education. Educating people to understand that it's possible. Because remember, I just talked about programming. And I said we all have been programmed. Ages 1 to 7. iPod. Everybody in the room familiar with iPods? Raise your hand if you are, because I know some old people in the room. All right. What an iPod is. All right, so the iPod, think about this. I just go to the Apple store, right? And I buy this iPod. And I go home. And I'm like, ooh, I'm excited. I'm about to listen to all this music, right? And I take it out the package and I push play. Why ain't they working? Wait, it's broke. Going back to the Apple store mad. I was trying to do an old person, all right. I get to the Apple store, I'm mad, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Why isn't this working? And the gentleman says, well, sir, you haven't programmed any music in it. And I'm like, oh, wow. I got to program. So 1 to 7, we've been programmed by family members, by the environment, by all these different people who care about us, But remember, their experience is their experience. So what wasn't possible for them could be possible for us if we get around the right people who can recalculate, who can reprogram us. Does that make sense? All right, so these are some of the athletes and coaches that I've had an opportunity to work with. And it's so crazy because remember, I think about my life now connecting the dots backwards, like I said with Steve Jobs, and he talked about in his commencement speech, Steve Jobs said he didn't know everything that he would be doing and that he did with Apple. He said he grew up and he didn't have parents, but it was some parents that adopted him. The parents saved up for his education. He said he went to school, but he went to school to do what his parents and what he thought he was supposed to do, but he wasn't in his purpose. So he said soon after he dropped out. He said he didn't drop out because he couldn't do it. He said he dropped out because he felt bad about all the money that his parents were spending, because when he was born, his biological mother told the people who adopted him, I will give him to you, but you have to make a promise that he'll go to school, because the mother knew education was the great equalizer. So he felt bad, and he dropped out. And he said the bad part about the story, but it helped him, and it was part of his purpose, was he was sleeping on couch to couch to couch. But he said he dropped out of school, but he was able to drop in to different classes. He said a calligraphy class. He said all these different classes that he was able to drop into. He said, so think about this. Since he was able to drop into those different things, think about the computers and what they have on them now. What he did was he understood everything that was happening to him was happening for him. Everything that happens to us is happening for us if we learn the lesson. So, the pyramid of purpose. Pyramid of purpose, all of you have a book. The programming. And I came up with this concept 2 years ago. I had a student who was on a golf team. And this student, true story, he called me up. He said, Dr. Arnold, I don't know if you remember me. He said, but you changed my life. And I said, I'm listening. How? He said, Dr. Arnold, he said, I was doing bad in school. He said, I was a good high school student, but I was doing horrible in school, and my coach made me come see you. He said, Dr. Arnold, I knew you was a cool guy because all the student athletes loved you, but he said, I was a little bit intimidated by you. And so he said, Dr. Arnold, he said, you told me when I called you that night, make sure that you let me know you there because I know my office is going to be packed. He said he got there, and he said office was packed full of football players, all that. He said, and I do things unorthodox. I really do, because it's not for me to be this Dr. Damon Arnold guy when I'm working with 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who don't understand that football is what they do, is not who they are. So I got to meet them where they are and get them to understand that you got to get a degree. So he peeked his head, and I had a bunch of athletes in my office, and I said, hey, everybody, get out of my office. I got to meet with him. He's not doing good at school. And so you can imagine how he felt. So as my athletes are going out, he said, they high-fiving me like, you good, you good, you good. And so he came in, and I said, what's going on, man? What's going on? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're here for a reason. He said, I said, what's going on with school? He said, well, I said, wait. You're not doing well in school. You're not doing well in the thing that you came to this university to do. I hear about what the golf team is doing, and I hear you're a part of that. I said, it's a shame, because why are you here? He said, well, I'm here to go to school. I said, no, you're not, because you're not doing well. Why are you here? He said, I'm here to play golf. I said, no, you're not, because you're not going to be playing golf for too much longer if you don't take care of the school stuff. I said, why are you here? And I said, don't even answer it right now. I said, what I want you to do is I want you to go home. I said, I want you to come back and see me. We're going to start meeting once a week. So fast forward, he said he went home, took a look in the mirror and said, man, I know I can do this school stuff, but I've been hanging around the wrong crowd. I've been allowing them to dictate my success. So he comes back. So he tells me, at this point, I remember him. He said, do you remember who I said, yeah, man, I remember you. He said, Doctor, I don't know if you knew this, but my father had a company. He has a company. I took over his company after I graduated. He said, Dr. Arnold, what I want you to do is I want you to do I want you to do an interview with me because I want to get you connected with all the different companies we're working with. I was like, sure. I said, I want you to meet with my company because we're trying to do a rebrand. After I do the podcast with him, we started having a conversation. He said, Dr. Arnold, he said, your lighting, you can fix that, you can do all these. He said, Dr. Arnold, but what is the thing? What's your thing? He said, all these different speakers. Les Brown, you got to be hungry. He said, all of these, they have their thing. What's your thing, Dr. Arnold? This is him talking to me. And so I go home and I start thinking, what's my thing? What's my thing? And it kept coming up, purpose, 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 purpose. That's my thing, purpose, purpose. So going back to the pyramid. So the programming I talked about. Think about the bottom. We don't all fit into the bottom. But there's some things that we struggle with in the bottom. So think about self-esteem. Think about insecurities, insecurities. All of them we don't fit into, but let me take one for instance. I had a student athlete who came in my office, and he didn't do well on the test. And I said, oh, I can try out the pyramid of purpose. And I said, where are you fitting? Where are you feeling right now on this pyramid? Because he didn't do well on the test. He said, He said, not smart enough. I said, okay. And I said, what else? Anything else? He said, doubt. I said, all right. I said, you're at the red. I said, we want to get to the green. We got to be in the green. That's what we want to be. Because none of us, late at night, you see the stop sign over, none of us, late at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't know why you up that late, but 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and that light ain't changing. You're not waiting. You're looking. And you're moving. Because no police was there. Am I lying? Wait, let me make sure. Let me make sure they just ain't the people I associate with. All right. So we don't want to get stuck in the red. So I said, where are you? He said, doubt. He said, smart enough. Okay, I said, ooh, we got to get you to the yellow. So here's the yellow. Here's the three most important things in order to get us up to our purpose. Here it is. These 3 things must happen. Not motivation, not these 3 things. Responsible, discipline, and control. But even before those 3 things, understand the thing that's in black is power. Because every one of us has the power to make a choice, to make a decision. All of us. Now, our power may be weak, but we all have the power. So the 3 things. Responsible. See, you're not responsible for what happened, but you are responsible for how you now choose to respond. The gentleman yesterday said he interviewed someone who was wrongly accused. He was mad, he was mad, he was mad, he was mad. Not until he took responsibility to say, you know what? I can't control what happened, but I can start controlling how I'm going to respond to the situation. Once he took the power away from the situation, things begin to change. See, that power thing is so important because every one of us in the room, you have the power. You are giving people the power to make a difference when you're doing interviews. All the things that you do that I'm thankful to you for, you're giving power to different situations that people need to be exposed to understand that if this person made it through, they can make it through. If I made it through, the kid that got kicked out of 2 different high schools, and now I'm sitting up here, Dr. Damon Arnold. They could do it. They could do it. But here's the thing. You can take responsibility. You can take control. But like I told the young man when he telling me that's how he's feeling, the not smart enough, I said, so what can you do? What can you do? He said, I don't know, what do you mean? I said, what can you do? You got another test in 3 weeks. He said, I can go to the library. I said, oh, so you can control whether you can go to the library. He said, yeah. I said, all right. I said, this grade that you got, are you responsible for the grade? He said, yeah. I said, why? He said, because I really didn't study the way I needed to. I said, so here's the thing. Do you think between now and 3 weeks from now at this university, not that we party at Grand Valley, but will there be a party? He said, yeah. I said, will your friends, teammates be going to that party? He said, yeah. I said, do you want a better grade on that test next time you take it? Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Do you want a better grade? He said, yeah. I said, so what are you going to have to do? And he smiled. I'm going to have to be disciplined. I said, yeah. I said, because you can control what happens next time. So he was disciplined. Came back to my office smiling. Doc, I got a C. See, that C was his A. The reason why I told you he got a C is because that C was his A because he didn't do well the last time. See, we need to celebrate people. We need to celebrate. Somebody was talking to me, and they were talking about the different awards that you win or whatnot. And they were like, no. They said they were nominated, but they didn't win. And I was like, no, we celebrating the nomination. We're celebrating the nomination. He got the C. And so now, moving up, now he developed new habits. Now he has new information based on what he needs to do in order to change what's happening. Now, if you look, he has a new belief system. Hey, I am smart. I just got to put forth the effort. I just got to take responsibility. I just got to be disciplined, and I got to control what I can control because I can't control them. I can only control me. And so now he has a new level of consciousness, right? And so now I'm telling you, now he confident. He confident. He confident. Because that's what we want to be. We want to be in that green. Now, he committed. He committed. He committed because he like, you know what, Doc, I like this feeling. I like this feeling. And so I told him, I said, I love that you're now doing what it is you were purposed to do. I said, but here's the reality. Look at the size. Energy. See, I'm over there pacing. I seen people looking at me because I'm an athlete. And I was waiting. I was like, come on, board of trustees. Everything's good. Everything's good. He takes care of financials. He's good. But I'm pacing because this is my thing. This is my purpose, right? And so I'm cool. So my energy. But here's the thing with that energy on the outside. If you look, fear, right? Fear is not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if we allow it to paralyze us. But if you think about that thing that you want, why is fear coming up now? It's trying to prevent us from doing that thing we know we need to do. So we need to move past that and take the action steps to believe that if we stay focused and make a decision, that we could be successful. See how the arrows go back and forth? And then who's holding you accountable? See, what I love about this conference is I heard all of you talking about the different things that you're doing. And you're holding each other accountable to a standard because everybody wants to be excellent. I love that. And then you have to make a choice of who's going to influence you. So I told him, I said, so when you're around your guys who don't understand that they have control, if they're influencing you to still have doubt, are you in the red, yellow, or green? He said, red. I said, where do you prefer to be? He said, in the green. I said, when you come around me, how you feeling? Confident. I said, so you got to understand the influence that you hang around to make a choice of who's going to hold you accountable for the success of your decisions, to focus on and believe that action, irregardless of the fear, and you have the energy that the foundation is built on, the relationships that all of you have in this room. This is the foundation, the relationships that you're developing from this conference. So when you go home, when you go back to, and you're like, I thought we were going to do all these things, you can call someone. And you can ask them, well, how did you implement this? Relationships. Because words are powerful. And as I said, thoughts become things. Because all of us remember the Jetsons, right? Everybody remember the Jetsons? Meet George Jetson. Da-da-da. His son Elroy. Da-da-da. All the young people like, what is he talking about? But you see all the older people like, ooh, that's my jam. Well, I'm sorry, Tim. Cookie Monster. Sorry. So here's the thing. We thought when we seen people going that's at the airport. When we seen George put in a microwave, that's here. The cars driving by, that's here, Tesla. We have to get people to understand the importance of purpose. Because when we can connect and change the language to make it about purpose and being courageous enough to say, this is what we're standing on, that I have a purpose. And when I get to my purpose, from the experiences that I've had, I want to help other people get to their purpose. No bad experiences, only experiences that we haven't yet learned from. In closing, the acorn. I just threw that in there because they all been talking about the acorn. And I just yeah, acorn, all right. Because I didn't want y'all to say, oh my God, he didn't mention the acorn. Keep the theme going. I didn't want y'all to say that. Don't bring them to Hawaii. Don't do that. He didn't mention the acorn theme. Listen, the most valuable thing we have is time. I appreciate all the time that you've given me. This whole pyramid of purpose that I created, I want to partner with other people, with other organizations to start changing the languaging, to understand that's what we're on this planet for. We're on the planet for our purpose. So many young ladies in here, I remember, because my daughter does it, I'm going to marry a prince, and we're going to live happily ever after. If that's your purpose, that's your purpose. But understand, Dr. Damon Arnold is taken. All right. I appreciate the time because time is something we can't get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so I appreciate it. And I appreciate you, camera guy, because we've been talking, and I told you, please get my Denzel side. So I appreciate you getting my, because I look up there, I'm like, ooh, that's Denzel with locks. I love it. All right. How was that, Tim? Was that good? Was that good? Was that good? Hold on. Stop for a minute. Stop. The guy in the blue shirt. Stand up. Yeah? No, not you. Way in the back, the cheap seats. Come on. You in the back? Blue. No, don't look back. You. Stand up. Yeah, you. I don't understand. Everyone else was like, oh my God, he's the greatest. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's the greatest. He's going to work with our network. He's going to make a whole lot of money because his kids need braces. But you, young man, didn't do anything. And I seen the video this morning where you were dancing like, hey. I'm just messing with you. I appreciate your time. Thank you. I want to make sure you made it up.
Let me lower this, a little too high. Again, good morning, everyone. I am Anita Sims with NETA. I'm the Executive VP and also the Business Center Director. On behalf of NETA, I'd like to present this thank you gift.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your purpose with us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is Eric gonna come up and take a picture with us? Because every
I think
time
he
somebody
should.
else. See, that's what I mean. You notice I don't care, because we family. I'm the black uncle that's gonna bust him out. Like, really, dude? Didn't he tell you I used to play football? All right, there you go.
Should I be in the middle?
Oh, be in the middle, yes.
Okay.
Y'all never bringing me back, I know.
Yes, we will.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you to everyone for joining us at this year's conference, and we hope that you're soaking in the knowledge and find your purpose also. We'll see you back here for lunch with the PBS kids. Have a great day. Thank you. Signing books right at the registration desk.